Connie Francis, whose ballads dominated 60s pop music, dies at 87. Hello, and welcome to Star Memoirs, your destination for unforgettable celebrity legacies. Connie Francis, who dominated the pop charts in the late 1950s and early 60s with sobbing ballads like Who's Sorry Now and Don't Break the Heart That Loves You, as well as up-tempo tunes like Lipstick on Your Collar and Vacation, died on Wednesday. She was 87. Her publicist, Ron Roberts, announced her death in a post on Facebook. He did not say where she died or cite a cause. 2 weeks ago, Ms. Francis used Facebook to tell her fans that she had been hospitalized for extreme pain after suffering a pelvic fracture. Ms. Francis had an easy, fluid vocal style, a powerful set of lungs, and a natural way with a wide variety of material, old standards, rock and roll, and country, as well as popular songs in Italian, Yiddish, Swedish, and a dozen other languages between 1958 and 1964. When her brand of pop music began to fall out of favor, Ms. Francis was the most popular female singer in the United States, selling 40 million records. Her 35 top 40 hits during that period included 16 songs that made the Billboard Top 10, including Lipstick on Your Collar, No. 5 in 1959, and Vacation, No. 9 in 1962, and 3, No. 1 hits. Everybody's Somebody's Fool, and My Heart Has a Mind of Its Own in 1960, and Don't Break the Heart That Loves You in 1962. She was best known for the pulsing, emotional delivery that coaxed every last teardrop from slow ballads, like Who's Sorry Now, the first of her many records to sell 1 million copies, and Made, where the boys are a potent anthem of teenage longing, sighing youngsters, thrilled to every throb in my happiness. What struck me was the purity of the voice, the emotion, the perfect pitch and intonation, said Neil Sedaka, who wrote her hits Stupid Cupid and Where the Boys Are with Howard Greenfield. It was clear, concise, beautiful. When she sang ballads, they just soared. Her song Pretty Little Baby, which was initially so obscure that Ms. Francis had forgotten ever recording it, had an unlikely resurgence this year, trending for weeks on TikTok and soaring 2 top spots in Spotify's Viral 50 global and US lists. And the actress Gracie Lawrence, who is currently playing Ms. Francis in Just in Time, a Broadway musical about the singer Bobby Darin. Ms. Francis's one-time romantic partner posted a video of herself lip-syncing to the song in her 1960s costume and hair. Concetta Franconero was born on December 12, 1937, in Newark to George and Ida Ferrari di Vito Franconero. She grew up in the city's iron-bound neighborhood. Her father, the son of Italian immigrants, was a dock worker and a roofer who loved to play the concertina, and he put an accordion in his daughter's hands when she was 3. From that moment, he hovered over her musical development and her career, putting her on stage at local lodges and churches. She made her stage debut at 4, singing Anchors Away and accompanying herself on the accordion at Olympic Park in Irvington, NJ*. At 11, Connie was a regular on Marie Moser's Starlets, a local television variety show. After she appeared on Ted Mack's Original Amateur Hour and Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts, Mr. Mack advised her to lose the accordion, and Mr. Godfrey advised her to change her last name to Francis. She then embarked on a 4-year run as one of the child entertainers on the anthology series Startime, as she outgrew the child star category. Ms. Francis obtained forged documents and began singing in clubs and lounges, imitating the vocal styles of stars like Patti Page and Rosemary Clooney. She made demonstration tapes for music publishers who wanted to place their songs with famous singers. In 1955, she signed a contract with MGM Records, and over the next 2 years, she recorded 10 singles, all of them flops. "The bombs just kept a-comin'," she wrote in Who's Sorry Now, her 1984 memoir, which, unlike the single and the subsequent album, used a question mark. "They were becoming my trademark, a foregone conclusion." Down to her last record and ready to quit show business to attend college, Ms. Francis gave in to her father's wishes and recorded Who's Sorry Now, a song she loathed because she thought it sounded old-fashioned. It was first heard on Dick Clark's television show American Bandstand on January 1, 1958, and sold 1 million copies in the next 6 months. "It was the first time I ever recorded that I didn't try to imitate somebody else," Ms. Francis told Gary James in an interview for ClassicBands.com in 1994. "I hated the song so much that I didn't care what I sounded like, so I just sang it." For the next 4 years, she reigned as queen of the charts, not only in the United States, but around the world. She sang in foreign languages when required. Her first such hit was Mama in 1960, recorded after she learned Italian, and released albums, including Connie Francis Sings Italian Favorites, Connie Francis Sings Jewish Favorites, and Connie Francis Sings Irish Favorites. Always intent on broadening her appeal, Ms. Francis made a practice of recording her songs in several languages, beginning with Everybody's Somebody's Fool, which became Europe's top single in 1960. In 1960, Ms. Francis took a leading role in the teen vacation melodrama Where the Boys Are and performed its plaintive theme song, which became a top 10 hit. She had already made her film debut in 1956, dubbing Tuesday Weld's voice in Rock, 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 an early jukebox musical, although she later said she hated her performance in Where the Boys Are. She went on to appear in 3 similarly light-hearted films: Follow the Boys, 1963, Looking for Love, 1964, and When the Boys Meet the Girls, 1965. Like Mr. Darren, with whom she was romantically involved until her father chased him off with a gun when she was in her late teens. Ms. Francis reached out beyond her teenage audience, recording material that made her a natural in Las Vegas, as well as in nightclubs like the Copacabana in New York. She was also a sought-after entertainer on television variety shows. She briefly tried performing before teenage audiences, but she found that she did not care for the experience. "I always remember receiving much more applause from teenagers when I was introduced than at any other time during the show, especially after my closing number," she wrote in her memoir. "After my name was announced and the squeals of delight subsided, it was downhill all the way." With the ascendancy of the Beatles, Miss Francis's days on the pop charts were over. Her last top 40 hit was Be Anything But Be Mine in 1964, but she retained an enormous following among older audiences, especially overseas, where fans routinely voted her their favorite female vocalist. In 1974, after performing at the Westbury Music Fair on Long Island, she was raped at knife point and then robbed in her nearby motel. She later sued the motel and was awarded $2.5 million in damages. At the time, one of the largest awards ever made in a rape case. The experience threw Ms. Francis into an emotional tailspin, and she descended into a nightmare of paranoia, suicidal depression, and drug abuse. Eventually, after being committed to a mental hospital by her father in the early 1980s, she was found to be suffering from manic depression. She later said that she had been misdiagnosed and that what she actually had was post-traumatic stress disorder following a horrendous string of events in my life. She endured other setbacks over the years. In 1967, cosmetic surgery on her nose left her unable to sing in an air-conditioned room, making it impossible to perform in most clubs and Las Vegas casinos. Corrective surgery a decade later caused her to lose her voice entirely. In 1981, her younger brother, George, was shot to death outside his home, not long after her voice failed. Her fourth husband, the television producer Bob Parkinson, left her. 3 previous marriages, Dick Canellis, Isidore, Marion, and Joseph Garzili, had ended in divorce. Information on her survivors was not immediately available. In 1981, after additional surgery, she recovered her voice. She resumed her recording and performing career in the late 1980s, returning to the Westbury Music Fair for a comeback concert. In 2004, she headlined in Las Vegas for the first time since 1989. Ms. Francis published another autobiography, Among My Souvenirs, in 2017 and announced her retirement the next year, although she continued to perform occasionally. I often say, I'd like to be remembered, not for the highs I've reached, but for the depths from which I've risen, she told Mr. James of classicbands.com. There were exhilarating highs and abysmal lows, but it was fighting to get out of those lows that I feel most proud of. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.